and sun. There'll be peace when you are done. Rest your weary head. Don't you cry no more. Once I rose above the noise and pollution. Conclusion? What is the lyrics? Seclusion? Collusion? Confusion. Oh, confusion, say. There is so much. Literally, you can put that, if you want the sign of the times, you could put any lyric in there and it would work. Pollution? Yeah, we got pollution. Collusion? Yeah, we got collusion. Definitely got a lot of confusion. And seclusion. Bars, okay? Every kind of ocean you can think of is going through. You know, contusions. Everybody's getting contusions. Don't know what that means exactly, but they're getting them. It's just wild out in the streets. People out there rioting, trying to take down the government. You know what? Shout out to the people out there. They're actually trying to do it. You know, at the end of the day, you got to respect it. I don't respect the acts, you know, but the fact that they actually went through with it. Listen, comedian, tell a giggle. Don't take this too serious. It is nuts what is happening out there right now. And listen, I'm a kind of guy, man. My pronouns are he, him, whatever else. I don't know. I'll be all of them. I need a couple days to reflect and really think about and get all the deets of all the stuff going down. Because here's the truth. You can't get it from the media. The media is not going to tell you. You guys want the truth. You come to me. I'll stuff some dick jokes, some barbecue wings, some buffalo wings, whatever else in there, some bars. But I'll give you the truth, baby bird. I'll feed you. I'll let you wet your beak. Just climb up in the nest and I'll... bleh, the truth. Bars, you know? I need a little bit of time to get my peepers around something. Let it soak up in the old noggin. So I'm never really quick to act on social media unless it's for a good joke. Because too much, you see people's initial reaction. And if it's an initial reaction on something, it's usually out of emotion. And if it's out of emotion, not to get all Yoda on you, it's usually your judgment is clouded. Hate leads to anger. Anger leads to suffering. Suffering leads to the dark side. A lot of people don't think, do they? People on social media just say really hypocritical stuff. Not look at yourself, do you? A bitch ass you are. Dude, trying to do the Yoda voice, kind of like voice, and cuss at the same time doesn't work out too well. Yoda had a stroke, is not meant to curse, okay? Just drop wisdom bars. But after having some time pass with this whole Capitol shit, the storming the Capitol aftermath, like it is nuts. This is beyond nuts. This is crazy to fathom that this actually happened. And one of the things I see on social media is you see a lot of people being like, hey, where were all you people that were chanting or upset about the riots and the protests with Black Lives Matter and all of these equality ones and all this stuff, where you guys are awfully silent now? Where are all these people that are silent? Where are all these people? Like they try to be like, people are literally just putting their own emotions out there because they can be. It's hypocritical, and it's just so weird. This is what frustrates me, and I don't get involved. I don't engage in the dumb shit people send me because it's just, there's no point. People send me such stupid stuff, and I see the stupidest comments, but I enjoy reading them because I'm like, oh yeah, this is the level. You got to know what's out there, and you're like, this is the level of stupidity that's floating around right now. The kind of stupidity that would just have a woman at the end of a prayer. Have you guys seen that? The stupidest thing I've ever seen is at the end of this prayer, this fuck nugget, he just goes, amen, and a woman. That guy is trying to get laid. I'll be honest with you. That is the weirdest white knight pandering bullshit I've ever seen in my life. Listen, I am pro women. I am pro strong women. But that is some weird shit, okay? Because are we going to take all the women stuff and turn that into men stuff, man stuff? It's weird, and it's not helpful. Like, instead, like, we really should be attacking better problems than this weird diet trying. That's what it feels like when you start seeing things like A men and A women, and like, just, it's like, okay, this is not what is supposed to be done. It kind of was like the what was it, the syrup that got canceled and all these things. Like, they just started like looking through, it's low-hanging fruit. They start looking through issues with that they can just take care of now, that are good publicity, things that are just Aunt Jemima. Whether it needed to be, changed or not, probably. I mean, if it offended the people who actually care about it, who are actually involved, okay, yeah. But I feel like there's things on priority. Like, we have so many minorities in jail that are, being wrongfully accused. Kamala Harris is one of the people that put them there. Free labor, look into it. There's so many other issues with racial inequality that are just harder to do rather than actually attacking, there's so much stuff that's harder to do rather than just these publicity stunts is what I'm getting at. And that's what I feel like A men and A women is. And it's not enough. And it's not the right things to do. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Just like the whole Latinx thing. I'm a Hispanic person, okay? Puerto Rican, half, okay? So I can make these jokes. This bullshit about Latinx and all this stuff, I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. Like, it's just gotten so ridiculous with how, like, we've gone so far from reality that we can't see the trees, or some Wood quote that I usually like to stuff in here. But I want to get too off topic. We started getting down the rabbit hole already. Storming the Capitol aftermath. There's so much. It's so weird to see now, because I like to see how the media covers things. Well, I think it was a terrible act. I really do. I think the violence it incited, the idea behind it, everything, terrible. The fact that people died, terrible. What's sad, there's a lot of people that think they were doing the right thing. I posted a meme, turned it into chicken wings, bars. But it's very sad that there's a lot of people who think that they were doing the right thing. People get lost in these conspiracies and these things that just aren't true. I don't know. And listen, I haven't been obviously I've attacked Biden because he has dementia. Nothing's going to change. And attacked Kamala Harris. I've said shit about Trump. I don't get, and the thing is that I don't like to, I had people attack me thinking that I voted for Trump just because of the way that I talk on the podcast. And if you don't completely support Biden, that means you support Trump. I've been very quiet, and I never actually even said who I voted for on this podcast. I did vote for someone, and it was a third party. Bars. Third party. Bars. You want a hint? Good. Get after it. I'm out, y'all. That's your hint right there. Some of you guys gonna get that. Because I feel like attacking Trump is low-hanging fruit. I feel like it's easy. I'm a contrarian, I guess you could say. And I don't like the low-hanging fruit, and I don't like getting weird social brownie points. I think what happened at the Capitol, like, I just don't get this connection from a demographic, a base of people that really think that a glorified trust fund baby who's a real estate mogul. Listen, it's very easy to be a real estate mogul when you have all that startup money. It doesn't impress me when people are given so much stuff and then they create wealth out of it by buying lots of real estate. Listen, the method is easy. You buy real estate, over time, it appreciates because it's an asset that just does. You'll build houses. You make things that are profitable. And he did some very sleazy things. I didn't think he was going to get elected in 2016 because I knew of all these stories of him not paying construction crews and all this shit that they just didn't exploit correctly during the campaigns. And obviously, Hillary was just a terrible choice. But let's not go too far back in time. I don't understand. It doesn't impress me. Things he's done with business. And when people build businesses and they already have money and all this shit and they were just given all this stuff, trust fund babies, doesn't impress me at all. Because I'm like, you didn't really earn everything that you need to actually build that business. Although a lot of people do lose money. You always hear about the lottery winners. It's usually a similar thing, is that you get money and you don't know how to use it. You go a little wild. But I'm getting too off topic. I don't know how a base connects to someone like that, thinking that he's the one that is for them, that he's the one that is really trying to help them and all this stuff. He didn't give a shit. There's a reason why he got a lot of votes based on these tax breaks and these big businesses. It wasn't necessarily to benefit the people. That was just good and convenient for him and his ideas and what he wanted to do. It's crazy. And the dude is so out of touch. Like I've never really seen like genuine concern or emotions behind him. You know, whenever he would give public speeches about tragedies and everything, I'm like, man, I just don't buy it. This all feels like publicity. But the motives behind it definitely was incited by these speeches that he gives. And it is very dangerous. And we get into weird territory because the big thing that's happening with the storming the Capitol is the fact that they were able to ban him across all social medias. He might be on TikTok right now being like, I'm a savage. Took my election. They had it. Let's take it back in. What's happening? You know, I don't know what he's going to do. But I think there's a direct correlation, obviously, between him giving the speech right before and the things he was saying. And basically he was telling people to fight and that they were going to, you know, he told people to do this shit. And it's nuts that they actually did this. And there's so many conspiracies going around about what the real thing happened at the Capitol. I was seeing conspiracies that it was a special forces event, a mission, and the riot was a distraction. And what they really were doing in there was seizing laptops to show evidence of voter fraud. They almost make it sound good. Like, listen, that can almost sound believable in some realm of the world. And I'm someone who's pretty in the middle where I try to just think things through. But imagine if you're someone that's so far lost in the echo chamber of it, you know? That's what's dangerous, is when you get too many steps removed from reality and then you get into a place where you think you're part of a revolution. And that's what's sad. Listen, I think a lot of these events in general, here's the thing, is like a lot of people tried showing pictures of, oh, this was the Capitol on during the Black Lives Matter movement. This was the Capitol during these riots and everything. And I saw people posting like, oh, look, you can take a selfie with a cop when you're white, but when you're a minority trying to do it, you get shot or, you know, get beaten. I hate when people compare variables in situations that are completely different. You have to be smarter than that. You have to be able to dissect and break down different variables, because these superficial, surface level answers to very complex situations don't mesh. Just off the top, when one protest is killing cops and their whole idea behind it is to defund the police, how many police do you think are going to stand there for a selfie when they're throwing bottles full of piss at them, when in Portland they're trying to burn them alive and cement the doors shut for months? That's the other thing, is that Portland was on fire for months, but everybody's like, oh my God, how could this happen? But then there's tons of quotes from the media and everything and all these politicians that were supporting all these protests and things going on, you can go through and read how many different politicians were saying bullshit during that time. And a lot of it was its tactics. Here's the big thing I'm trying to say. All politicians are full of shit. They really are. And they don't give two shits about actually the well-being of America. They just want to control what they can control and business as usual. They want their stuff to get in and their stuff to get passed. There's a lot of shit with Nancy Pelosi where she for sure was trying to make all the stimulus and all this stuff come to a halt to make things seem so much worse that we needed change. It's gross. And it's just weird. And I think wrapping this all up together with a nice spitball and bow, I think these kind of things, these protests where you have people being parts of movements that they don't even really understand, when you see people getting involved in the riots and violence, because listen, when you want to march for to show that Black Lives Matter, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I support it. Do Black Lives Matter? 100%. 100%. Do I want equality? 100%. Do I want everybody to have equal opportunities and to pursue a life of happiness and liberty? 1,000%. 1,000%. There is manipulation and opportunity in any kind of movement. And that's what you saw with the BLM organization and everything like that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. And listen, it's even like people will get mad at you for even not agreeing 100% with something. But there was so much fraud and stuff and all these donations. And I see people donating and trying to get social brownie points to it and everything. And then you see all the fraud that all this got funneled to these leaders of BLM and all these different funding pages that really it wasn't going to any good causes except buying someone a new house. You can Google it. But I think in all these different areas, if you want to talk about protests on either side or anything, I think there's such extreme sides that feel disenfranchised in life and just want a purpose. They just want to feel a part of something. I think, and this might not be a popular opinion, I think there is a lot of people that got involved in a lot of movements and stuff going on because they were out of work, because they didn't have a lot going on, because they were depressed and needed an outlet. Dude, it gives people a lot of fulfillment. Why do you think the military goes after people who are college dropouts and everything? And they want you to be the lowest rank, go in the Marines, and you'll be a hero. And they paint this picture because it makes you part of something. It makes you a hero, and it's sad. And while those people that do go in the military, they are heroes, and we owe a lot to them for the sacrifices they make, for the freedoms for me to do shit like this, just talk. And I think when you have people storming the Capitol, you start reading about there are even vets that, they latch on to having a purpose again because they feel like they're fighting for something bigger than themselves. Because life can be hard for a lot of people, and I think the same thing with protests on the other side. People latch on to things and they want to be part of a movement and express themselves. And I think it's a side effect of a bigger problem that we have going on. And I think and I was talking about how coronavirus is a sign of the times in a previous podcast. But I feel like these protests and just the way people lash out, and it's like trolls on social media have become such a normal thing that we don't even really dissect them anymore. We just go, fucking trolls. All right, whatever. We got another hater. It was something that used to bother me because I'd read comments and I'd be like, oh, this person thinks I suck. Oh, I should just crawl up in a hole and die. Oh, my music smells like or looks like a bag of piss with shit in it. I don't even know how that person created that comment, but that's something I once got. Said it looked like a Nesquik bag of piss and shit in it. Hurt my feelings. But the truth is, over time, you just kind of go, it's just those what trolls do. They just try to get a rise out of people. But we kind of stopped looking at that as like, we're going to pay for this. I really believe that there is no free rides in anything in life. No matter what, you're going to have to pay a price. And we've created a world with social media that, while it's great in the sense of you have such access to information and important emergency information, and you can learn and educate yourself and all of that, there's a very big side effect to that. The instantaneous gratification and the fact that you do have access to all these dopamine rushes and these things that scare you and these things that make you feel good and these things that just like, they cut out a lot of the work that it takes to get things. And I think there's a lot of side effects of that where all of a sudden you're just getting hooked on this phone and you're getting so far away from reality and life and the way the algorithms work. Dude, I'll watch one video on something and all of a sudden my news feed just starts filling up with it. What you look at the most on social media, your news feed just starts filling up with it. Titties, 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 titty balls, titty balls, titty, 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 ball, ball, titty. You know? You get where I'm going with this. But it's like you get in an echo chamber where that becomes normal and it starts like diluting life for you. It starts changing the way you look at things. And I think that the fact that we have people lashing out so often, trolls, you know, that write these comments and say all these things, like it's all a side effect of something we've created and we're paying the price for it. The kind of, you know, depression that you get from being on social media all the time, and then the kind of echo chambers that get created to make things like this seem like a good idea. Could you imagine if you're a regular person, you go out, you hang out with friends, you're well balanced, you try to check your ego, your discipline, and then you meet a group of people and they're like, hey, we're going to storm the Capitol tomorrow because the election's a fraud and blah, 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 and this and this and this. Are you going to go, that sounds rational, let's go do it? No, you're going to be like, what the fuck? But those people didn't start there. It started very slowly over time of, you know, they start hanging out with these people. Oh, this one idea. Oh, wow. Well, let me go down the rabbit hole. Look at this. Oh, shit. Oh, this is pretty crazy. And then when you start accepting conspiracies and they go further and further and further and further, you're so far from reality that those fringe conspiracies don't seem so crazy anymore. I don't know. I don't know what the point of all that was, is that I just think it's, you know, dangerous echo chambers and being around, you know, like we're paying a price of having a world of social media where we kind of haven't checked it and we kind of haven't had to have discipline with it. I think this is something that happens. And obviously just blatant manipulation by politicians and everything like that. I do hope we figure out a good way to wrap this all up. I think it's important, you know. I've said it before, and maybe I am a conspiracy theorist, but there are real things that we should be worried about in the world. And I think we've gotten too micro-focused on a lot of stuff going on in our society to where people have taken on what politicians do, where you have to use every opportunity as an attack on the other side rather than a learning opportunity. I've seen it, you know, you never heard a politician say something nice about another politician, or when they made a fault and we're like, hey, we're all human and let's figure out how to make this better for the American people. Listen, he made a mistake. My opponent made a mistake and I'm sure he's going to learn from it. He has a family. He's trying to do good, and together we're going to learn how to help each other and make this great. That person would never get elected. We don't care about, we want extremes and we want to attack. And for some reason, people have started taking that on where they've joined teams. Like we turned politics, obviously, into teams. It's fucking football teams. And for some reason, you only win by beating the other team. Bars. Like you can't, you have to beat that team. Their losses mean wins for you. So you have to take those opportunities. And I think there's a big opportunity for unity. This is even something like just in your personal life where rather than rubbing it in people's faces, someone someone has an ego, someone treats you badly, they do this, they do that, rather than rubbing in their faces and trying to humiliate them and hold yourself above them. Show humility. Tell them, hey, it happens. I wish nothing for the best for you, but the best for you. And move on. Listen, I saw so much stuff where it was such an opportunity. Listen, if you're on the left side, right side, far left, far right, it doesn't matter. When something is happening, there's a better way to handle these things. If something fucks up, there's a better way to handle this than be like, ha ha, look at how stupid you guys are and what you guys are doing. Wow, you guys are so fucking stupid. Take the higher road, okay? Figure out a way to educate and allow people with humility and with their dignity allowed to come back to the middle. I think that's something that we don't see enough of, is where people don't give people the opportunity to lose with dignity, to learn with dignity, but rather they just draw the line harder and go, look at you guys are stupid animals. I don't know if anybody said that, I'm sure. But it's nuts. What do we do, 26 minutes on this shit? Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Got way too serious. It's just, this is the kind of shit that's going on right now. This is pretty crazy. Like, yesterday I was just sitting there and I was like, they stormed the fucking Capitol and they got in. I'm about to go to the Treasury and just get my fucking stimulus check. Okay? Because it seemed way too easy. Way too easy. So nuts. All the social media platforms banned Trump. That shit's wild. Like, if you really think about it, the current president of the United States is being censored by all social media platforms because he's too dangerous. And now they're trying to impeach him. That shit is nuts, man. Nuts. Just in the idea of freedom of speech, and the way they've been able to censor him. I don't know what the right thing to do is. I mean, obviously the man is inciting violence and it's ending badly. It's ending very badly. Let's move on. Pope Francis astonished at the violence at the Capitol. Pope Francis, I bet you would be astonished at the things that go on in the Vatican, okay? Glass houses, Pope Francis. Glass houses. Bitcoin. We'll talk about this for a little bit. Listen, your boy's always trying to make a little bit of coin, I got in the whole Bitcoin thing in like 2016, 2017. Your boy was up quite a bit of money, okay? Quite a bit of money. And I should have sold, but I fell for all the Fomo, where it was like, it's just going to keep going up, 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 up. Nothing in the world just keeps going up, up, up. And I know I have some younger listeners, around 20 to 25. It's my demo. And if you're getting into Bitcoin and these kind of investments, you have to be very careful, okay? Things are going good right now. It obviously just had a crazy drop today. And why? Listen, you have to know what you're looking at and what you're dealing with. Right now, it's down 15%. A lot of them are down up to 30%. That's a pretty big swing. And when there's swings like that, volatility, there's opportunity. But usually, if you're not an experienced trader or investor, you're going to be on the wrong side of the trades because you're going to FOMO. If you have any kind of fear of missing out, you're going to FOMO in, and then when it sells, you're going to fear, panic sell. You're going to take losses. It's going to start going back up, and then you're going to get back in at a bad price. It's going to drop down again. You're going to sell, get back in at a worse price, rinse and repeat. Your boy did a little bit of that in like 2017 because it's just such a volatile investment. And my 2 cents on it is that I think cryptocurrency has a place in the future, but it's going to be a long time until it's actually used as a currency, in the sense of it's stable. It's going to take a long time, and it has way too much manipulation. When it dove before, there's way too many people with too much money that are able to capitalize on people's FOMO. And what sucks is it's the little fish out there that are getting smashed, okay? Because these big people, they pump it and pump it and pump it and put a lot into it. drives the price up. People get excited and FOMO into it. They don't want to miss out on this next gold rush. And then when everybody starts investing their money, they sell theirs at a higher price. It drops the price. And the people who got in higher, FOMO'd in, start losing money. I think as a small investment, I think it's good over long time. Long time. You love Bitcoin, long time. Put a little bit of money into it. Just small. It's got to be a very small amount of your monthly expenses that you can safely be like, I don't care if I lose this. Whether that's 2%, 3% of your monthly income into it. Just over time. I think steadily over time, it's going to go up, up, up. Don't try to get into the crazy swing trades. Don't overinvest and be worried about it. You kind of just got to put it and let that shit ride. Okay? But I think, again, it's being manipulated. I think there's no regulation on it, so this can be done very easily. And I think it's going to be years before it's actually a stable form of currency. And don't let your friends scare you into thinking that the dollar's going to go to zero. I mean, it could, but fuck it. I saw something that was brought to my attention this weekend. Alec Baldwin's wife, okay, formerly known as Hillary Thomas, now goes by Hilaria Baldwin. The fuck. Alec Baldwin's wife, and I don't even bring this up, it's not some tabloid shit, maybe it is because she has been caught pretending to be Spanish. Why would you ever pretend to be crazy? Okay, shout out to my Latinx people. Why? I don't understand this. Okay, cultural appropriation goes across the board. Hilaria Baldwin. Used to be Hillary. Changed her name and everything. Apparently there was all this controversy because she was saying she was born in Spain and grew up there. All this stuff. Found out she was born in Boston, and her family, when she says, oh, well, I'm born in Boston, but I grew up in Spain, they would just vacation there in Spain. Obviously, very privileged. Privileged enough to where you're like, I'm going to be Hilaria now. And then she started taking on this fake accent. I listened to an interview. This is the weirdest shit ever. She took on a Spanish accent. There was one where she was talking completely normal. And then in one, she just pretend to not know all the words in the American language, you know? And sí. Whenever you want to find out if someone actually speaks Spanish, you're like, say some Spanish, and they go, hola, ¿cómo estás? Spanish 1. That's just some Spanish 1 shit. But it just doesn't make any sense. It's the weirdest form of identity theft. I think she should be punished with only getting the bad sides of Spanish culture. You know, like the violent rages and... No, I guess that's it. Hispanics are just violent. And put a lot of people in cars. Hilaria. It's funny, when I would work at Applebee's, I'm a hypocrite because I would change my name from Evan to Ivano on my name tag, and I would pretend I was like an Italian. I'm a complete hypocrite. I would pretend I was Italian, an Italian waiter. And did older ladies want to sleep with me? Yeah, they did. Okay. Yeah, they did. But it's funny because the first time I did it, like I made the name tag and everything, and I go to a table, all I did was speak broken English because I didn't have enough confidence with the accent. It's terrible right now. But the first time I went to a table, I was just like, hello, would you like water? Would you like a beverage? And they just felt like I was, I don't know, my first day in America, and I didn't even really work there. That's how I felt. And it was so awkward. And then as I kind of build on it as the dinner went on, so it was more confusing to them because I pulled like a Flowers for Algernon, where I just started getting smarter and learning how to talk over time throughout the meal. It was funny. But yeah, I'd go to tables and I'd be like, hello, my name is Ivano. How are you ladies doing tonight? Yes, very beautiful. Yes. Very good choice, sir. Very good choice. And they loved it. And I thank God I never actually was asked what part of Italy I was from and everything. Like, I had no backstory ready, except when I was doing it to a table that knew me, where I had regulars come in and I didn't realize it. Then I started doing my Ivano, and then they go, Evan, what are you doing? They were librarians at the college I went to, and I would talk to them. And I was like, oh, funny story, guys. But yeah, it was good times. Good times, ladies and gentlemen. I'm upset, Hilaria. You could be a Hillary and just be Hispanic. Why'd you have to go Hilaria? That's like, I have a terrible name, Evan. Evan is such a boring name. I have a bit about it. But in reality, my dad, they wanted to name me Juan Carlos Saturnino Napoleon Lopez. And they went with Evan. They went with Evan. I would have been dead though right now from drowning in pussy. I would have told you that, that much right now. But they just went with Evan. Just the widest name ever. I'm literally leading the score for Evans. Okay? I'm the best we got. I represent all the Evans in the world. Okay? Always buck teeth. I'm not even going to start doing the bit for you guys. It's just depressing, But at least people are surprised when I show up and they're like, Evan? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Nothing. Come on in, bud. They're like, I'm going to call you Larry. Why? No reason. If you guys are confused, I'm still working out the kinks right now. New adjustments in the studio. Listen, we're trying to figure some shit out. We're always trying to evolve and figure out new ways to do everything. So the set looks a little different. We're trying to get things different with the microphone and new shit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, coming at you hot on a Monday. Coming at you with that serious podcast, that 27 minutes on the Capitol shit, talking about some very touchy subjects. Okay, we mentioned the words Black Lives Matter. We mentioned the words Capitol. That's only one word. But I feel like I have to wrap it up with this, is that, listen, this is my disclaimer. And I feel like this still has opportunity, and it's crazy that I have to say this, opportunity to be the greatest country in the world. Okay? America is a melting pot, and it is a social experiment. There is nothing like us in the sense of our pursuit for liberty. Do we have a bad past? Yeah, we come from a bad past. Do we have problems? Do we have inequality? Yeah. And while I think 2020 was a fucking whirlwind, I think it taught us a lot. It taught us a lot. It forced everybody to realize how corrupt politicians are. How racist some people are who pretend not to be. How fake these companies are that pretend they're for all these different movements. They do all the wrong things. They do all the low-hanging fruit just to get people to keep buying their products. People want to cancel Aunt Jemima. People want to do all these things that don't really matter. Is that what people are fighting for? Is we don't want possibly racial food products? Or do we want actually equality? Don't do the fucking bitch work or this low-hanging fruit of like, all right, we took down Aunt Jemima. Good job, everybody. All right, let's go back to making money and focusing on our business, capitalism. Why don't we actually try to fix core issues, education, fixing the real problems that we have with social media and the ways that people can get manipulated into these causes? And I think there's a big reason why people don't want it. Because they can manipulate it and they can control it. If you can get people so emotional and so riled up with just social media, well, that's phenomenal for control. I sound like such a fucking conspiracy theorist right now. It's phenomenal for control, and also if it's people who are satisfied with the lowest hanging fruit, it's a win-win situation for businesses. To just slap a slogan on something and say, we're with you. We're not actually going to be with you. We're not going to make an effort. We're not going to try to do this and fix the real core issues, but we're with you. Just keep buying our stuff. It's just interesting. It's just interesting. She used to be a comedy podcast. I tell a giggle every now and then. But ladies and gentlemen, I love you. And remember, no matter what, I still love you. Bars.